Hi there. My name is Kimball Hildreth with Live Oak Computer Science. Today we're going to be taking a look at circular systems and how we use circular systems as a backdrop for teaching computer science. In a few moments, we're going to go outside and check out the Acorn Land Lab in person. We'll see how we take waste products and turn them into high-quality food and energy. Let's take a few moments to look at a few slides illustrating the systems that we're using in the Acorn Land Lab before we go see the actual Acorn Land Lab tour. Here's a high-level overview of some of the key systems in our Acorn garden. You can see water cisterns for collecting rainwater, raised beds, methane digesters, growing trellises, square-foot gardening, pollinator gardens, innovative tiny homes, local bees for pollination and honey, mushroom grow beds, local poultry for eggs, greenhouse aquaponics, and acorn sensors to monitor data. Today we're going to take a look at the concept of circular systems meets computer science. We like to refer to this as CS2. CS2 at Live Oak Computer Science is taking a high-level look at three key ideas: agricultural innovation, biological and human systems, and computer science and circular systems. Computer science and circular systems are interwoven throughout all of the projects within the CS2 curricular framework. We're focusing on how we can create more sustainable systems that provide humanity's basic needs. We can boil our circular systems down to two key systems, one for producing food, one for producing shelter. Live Oak Computer Science / Circular Systems has a mission to teach students, teachers, and communities to think in systems. Thinking in systems is key to solving many of today's issues. One of the biggest challenges we humans are facing today is addressing and reinventing linear systems. A linear system is by definition not a sustainable system. If I continue to spend money from my bank account without putting more money into the bank account, eventually I'm going to hit zero. That's a linear system. Our goal is to create circular systems from broken linear systems. Examples of linear unsustainable systems are throwing away food waste and paper waste into landfills, an autocracy where the people do not have a voice, mining for mineral fertilizers and fossil fuels that are depleting, producing carbon and methane into the atmosphere without sequestering carbon, chemical fertilizer systems that reduce topsoil year after year on big ag farms, treating human needs like housing as investment commodities. These are all examples of linear systems that will ultimately crash because they are not being renewed, they're not being restored. There's a finite stock that is being pulled from continuously until a crash will inevitably occur. Challenges for today's students in tomorrow and today's world. The public health crisis is an example of a linear system. Since the 1940s, fast food has exploded in Western nations, particularly the United States. From this chart, you can see cooking at home has contracted while Americans eating out and eating fast food in particular has completely ballooned. And the public health crisis has a direct correlation to the deviation from normalcy from us producing food in our homes from local sources. Atmospheric pollution and greenhouse gases. This is a great example of a linear system, a one-way street. We are emitting toxic gases and greenhouse gases into the atmosphere daily without sequestering or cleaning the pollution that is entering the atmosphere. Circular systems are sustainable and balanced. A sine wave is an excellent example of a circular representation. There are cycles. Think about the seasons in nature: spring, summer, fall, winter. That is a circular system that undulates up and down and up and down. A sine wave truly relates to a circular system, an eternal rhythm of balance. You can see here that the sine wave goes up and down. This, graphed in a slightly different way, directly maps to a circle. Are you beginning to understand the term circular systems and how this is a system that, while always in motion, remains in balance? Balance in all life systems requires oscillation in a circular manner. Circular systems are beautiful and they're natural. What if we all had a pleasant place to call home, but we didn't have the increasingly large monthly mortgage, water, electrical, gas bill, and trash bills? What if we no longer produced so much daily trash to send to a landfill? Most items we no longer needed were compostable and turned into black garden soil. What if most of our food came from within 50 miles of our communities and our backyards, and we knew many of the farmers and could visit the farms? What if we had smaller electric vehicles for local travel on car-free pathways, and we rarely or never needed to purchase gasoline? What if we knew our daily actions, habits, and decisions were restoring biodiversity, healing the earth, and bringing more stability and prosperity to all global communities? What if our food, shelter, energy, and transportation needs were primarily met in local, affordable, sustainable, solar-centric ways that we understood and were involved in for all of us? What if we reinvent this world we inhabit to be designed better for us and everyone else? Perhaps we can. Computer science meets circular systems. Live Oak Circular Systems are an outdoor laboratory to illustrate the concept of natural physical systems meeting computer science. Computer science is only useful if we solve real problems with it. At Live Oak Computer Science, we're working to bridge the gap between computer science and the physical world. We're working on developing camera systems that take photos and send that data back for computer science projects. Whether a classroom is monitoring plants growing on a windowsill, mushrooms, Stirling engine kits, desktop aquaponics, or ant farms to learn the basics of ecology. We're working to connect the physical and the digital. We have a 4-step educational stepping stone model at Live Oak Computer Science. Here's an example progression of how we're illustrating concepts to students. First, we start with a digital learning activity. We show a video or simulation to students that's accessible to every student with access to Live Oak Computer Science. Then we walk classrooms through hands-on learning activities with affordable kits. For aquaponics, this might mean setting up a desktop betta fish growing microgreens. Thirdly, we show students and teachers inspirational examples that our team is building at our Acorn Land Lab. We're building community-scale aquaponic systems to feed a number of families fresh, locally grown fish, along with locally grown greens and herbs. And finally, we explore further by introducing students to video content with large businesses, government projects, NGO projects, and nonprofits to be able to show students and teachers what these systems look like at a larger scale than what our team is completing at our land lab. Here's an example of the 9 key areas that we're working to illustrate circular systems within. For instance, students might set up fabric window planters in their classroom. Then they can watch videos about how our team is setting up a greenhouse with raised beds. Furthermore, we'll show students video of companies like Bowery Farms and how they're growing food indoors. These multiple levels help us illustrate key concepts to students at different scale levels. We focus on teaching students about computer science and circular systems because we believe that both of these concepts are at either end of a fascinating spectrum. Computer science is at the apex of human innovation. Circular systems show us how the natural world is supposed to work, in harmony with one another, where anything that dies, any waste product, is recycled into new life, into new plants. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Acorn Land Lab. The Acorn Land Lab is our real-world, hands-on project environment for testing out projects that we can then study with computer science tools and technologies. For instance, we use our little Acorn cameras here to take photos every few minutes or every few hours of growing plants to track growth rates. The Acorn Land Lab is just across the street from our office. We're excited to tie more hands-on projects from the Acorn Land Lab into our computer science curriculum. The Acorn Land Lab is all about taking waste products, coffee grounds from the local coffee shop, wood chips from the city, paper waste from our households, food scraps from our households and restaurants. We have various wood pellet and wood chip burners and biochar as an output. The biochar can be used to further stimulate soils in a garden. We also raise black soldier fly grubs as a feedstock for our fish and chickens. The black soldier fly grub is very high in protein and fat. These are fed food waste from our local households and restaurants. Food waste that would have otherwise gone to a landfill and increased methane leaking into the atmosphere. One of our favorite devices at the Acorn Land Lab is our methane digester, which inputs water and food waste and then exports methane gas that is burned on a gas grill, as well as liquid fertilizer for the garden. At the Live Oak Acorn Land Lab, we use compost rollers to generate new biologically active compost to increase our vegetable output. Our chickens are also part of our circular symbiotic systems. The chickens eat grubs that are grown from food waste, as well as other food scraps. The chickens are able to give us eggs in the circular systems, and the chickens also yield fertilizer in their manure that's then spread throughout the vegetable systems. The Acorn Land Lab is all about taking waste products, coffee grounds from the local coffee shop, wood chips from the city, paper waste from our households, food scraps from our households and restaurants. We're taking waste products like grass clippings and leaves to build out compost. My name is Kimball Hildreth. Thank you for joining us for this virtual Acorn Land Lab tour today. We are excited to educate students on both computer science topics and sustainable circular systems.